Stony Brook University's Institutional Research Planning and Effectiveness Department has a website full of information in the fact book, including tables like this, where there is data on whether people lived on campus or off campus over the past 10 years. Let's take a look at how we can take information like this and create a chart from it that highlights what we want to highlight that we can then use in our own reports and presentations. So we will look at how to download the information from that website, get it into Google Sheets, create charts from that, adjust those charts, use those charts in slides or reports, and also we'll look at the good report standards that the Institutional Research Planning and Effectiveness team has developed to help us use this data well. So first off, let's look for this institutional research at Stony Brook. So I'm just going to do a Google search for that. And the first option here is in fact where I want to go. On the Institutional Research Planning and Effectiveness page, we're going to go to the fact book. And this is where a lot of the information is available either in charts already through dashboards or in the actual more raw data in data and reports. So I'm going to click on data and reports. On the left-hand side, I'll choose one of the options I want to look at. And for today, we're going to look at the enrollment option, and we're going to look at the campus residents and non-residents. So most, if not all of these, have an option to look at a PDF of the information. In this case, it would be a table of data. But instead of that, we're going to go to the Excel file and download that Excel file of the data so we can work with it. Today we're going to actually look at working with this information in Google Drive. First off, I'm going to create a folder for this. I'm going to say SBU fact book data. So I'll create that folder first, and then I'm going to open up that folder. And now that I'm in the folder where I want this to go, I'm going to say File Upload. I'm going to navigate to my downloads and upload that file there. Great, so now it's organized in my drive, and all we're going to do now is double click on that, and it's going to open up that Excel file directly in Google Sheets. So I can see it's an Excel file because it's got the ending up here in the top, but I can actually still work with it in Google Sheets. The first thing you can do when you want to work with creating charts in Google Sheets is just see what happens when you select all the data and add a chart. So we'll start with that. I'm going to click on the top leftmost part of the table, and while I'm holding the mouse button down, I'm going to click and drag down to the bottom of the data in that chart. And when I click on the Insert Chart option near the top right, and if you don't see that option, you can also go to Insert and you'll find Chart from the menu here. Well, in this case, it's warning me about that I'm working on an Excel file, and if there's anything that's not supported between Excel and that, it's talking about named ranges here, those will be removed. For our purposes now, this doesn't matter, so I'll go ahead and click Continue Editing, and I'll see I've got a default chart created for me. Now this is definitely not the data that I want to work with because it includes the undergraduate total and then the living in campus and not living and the graduate total, and so there's a lot of duplication here, but that shows you how easy it is to select data and to create a chart. So what if I don't want all of this? What if I just want to look at the undergraduate numbers? So I'm actually going to click on the three dots near the top right of this chart, click Delete Chart, and let me try that again. So if I don't want every single part of this chart, if I only want certain rows or certain parts of it, there's a keyboard shortcut I can use to select that. And to start, I'm going to select only the first part of the data that I want, and that's this level place of residence, this header here where it tells me the semesters the data refers to. And once I select my first part of the data, I'm going to hold down the Control key on Windows or Command on Mac, and I will select my next row of values here. In this case, I want to select the living in campus residences data there from the kind of title of this data all the way to the right. And I'm also going to hold down the Control on Windows or Command on Mac and select my final set of data here, which is those that are not living in campus residences. I'm not going to choose the undergraduate row here because this is just the sum of the other two values. So now I've selected only parts of the chart, and I was sure to include the titles or the labels for the different values I've selected. And this time when I click to insert a chart, I'm going to see the information for just the undergraduates and the living and not living in campus there.